Hi, Jim. Do you hear anything there?
I do.
Hey, Jim, this is Ruben. Yeah, but we're not getting any. Are you getting any of the conference information at all?
Yeah. No, I'm trying to text Steve right now, figure out what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, okay. I was texting our attorney too to see if she had some insight since she was in the room.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, all right, stand by. Yeah, I just spoke with the contact on site. She mentioned that she was going to talk with the committee as soon as this person gets done speaking. So hopefully they will bring us online.
Okay, thanks.
All right, sir. Just got a word that they're going to try to restart the meeting, and so it may kick us all off in a few minutes.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thanks.
Copy that.
Oh, is that working now?
Can you hear me now?
There it is. There.
Uh,
I didn't know what you were looking for. That's all you're looking for. We'll figure that out.
Okay, so we need
We need Dominion Energy.
okay,
Dennis Quinn, PE.
That's Dennis Quinn right there.
Oh, there he is.
Right there.
there you are. So you have a presentation?
I do. Do I need to share it or do you?
Yes, I need to share with you, I presume.
I did provide it to you, but if you need me to run it mine, I can.
Okay, well, I'll try to. I'm a trainee, so
I'm not going to be much better if being truthful about it.
this is my first day on the job. Okay. Share.
Am I speaking to the whole group at the moment, or do I want to at least do introductions?
Yeah, you're speaking to the whole group. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, let me at least, while we're getting the video up or the presentation up, let me just introduce myself and my team on a call with me. I'm Dennis Quinn, as it said. I'm with TRC. We're engineering group supporting Dominion Energy for this particular application. I happen to be a civil engineer, but TRC is multiples types of engineers, electrical, environmental consultants, and so forth. Joining me on the call with me is Stefan Haas. He's with Dominion. He's the project manager. Stefan, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hey, evening, everybody. Yeah, as Dennis said, I'm Stefan Haas, project manager for Dominion Energy for the.
I always get your name
yourself.
right, and I am so terrible.
Close enough.
Stefan and Gautam Grothapalli is on the call with us as well. He's the assistant project manager. Did I pronounce your name correctly, Gautam? Not important if you're on mute. That's fine. So, we're here to present our project called the Singer Substation, which is a proposed substation in Chantilly off of Willard Road. And is there anyone else I'm missing? I'm not seeing anyone else from our team at the moment. I know that Yolanda was potentially going to join us, but she's had a conflict in early parts. But that's perfectly fine at this particular point. But when you're ready for a presentation where I can share, it doesn't matter to me. You might see my notes when I share because I'm not really. I have notes in the presentation. So
You got to tell us too.
I think we're good. So I have it up. I hope you can see.
I'm not seeing anything other than what we're doing. So all I see is our cameras. Am I missing something here that I should be clicking on here that should share the presentation?
I don't see anything either, Dennis. So you might want to
Okay.
share it on your screen for everyone online.
Let me try that real quick. Let me figure out how to do that.
This one? Okay.
Hopefully it comes up correctly.
Oh, I did that.
I need to get to 3. I'm in 3. Okay, so now I need to get out of here. Let me get out of this and go to my.
Oh, window. Okay.
There we go. Can you see my screen?
Hey,
No.
Steve, can you make him a host? You need to make him a host.
Oh.
Make Dennis a host,
Wait a
Steve.
minute. Wait a minute. Share.
You want to sit here?
Now we can see it.
Yeah, we got it. So good.
Can everyone see my screen?
I can't work on somebody else.
Yes.
What are you seeing the real? Let me change something because I know I'm not sharing the right one. Then hold on for a moment.
No, you're. I have yours up. I think.
I appreciate.
We're seeing
that.
someone's. It says Singer Substation.
Do you see nothing but the picture, or do you see the?
No, we see it
program?
scrolling. So whoever's doing it. it's
No,
working.
that's someone else. I don't have control
Okay.
of that now.
That's
Okay,
me.
good. So let me stop sharing at the moment. For some reason, I think let me get out of here. And get to, why am I not seeing maximize? There we go. Okay. All right, so we've got the Singer substation screen. Thank you for, appreciate everyone's patience on that. So with the Singer substation, do you mind just going straight to the next slide here? So, you know, what we're here to discuss it with the Singer substation is, you know, Dominion Electric Virginia's proposal to build a new substation on the parcel adjacent to an existing substation, what we call the Walney substation, located off of Willard Road. The substation is to provide for the area, as well as to support 2 new data centers that are being constructed. One to the east, approximately 3/5 a mile, as a crow flies to the, I should say not to the east, to the west, off of Bogle Drive, and that can be found off of Stonecroft Boulevard. And then another substation, another data center over Entree Court, which is near the intersection of Willard and Walney, about a little over a mile away to the east. Just to go over why we're here is, you know, we have a need for the county's approval for a public facility review, a 2232 application. And then, you know, the real purpose of this, just hold for one moment, it's got a little bit of a screen, is to discuss why it needs to be here. It's not just for the data centers, as well as, you know, the area that we're talking about being built, the substation being proposed for, is to support not just the 2 data centers, but to provide reliability to the overall general area that is receiving, you know, additional growth, both office, commercial, and residential, you know, so a substantial amount of new work is going on proposed. And so this substation is not just going to support the data centers, but it's also going to provide reliability to the community, to the area. As you see on this next slide, the location is just a little bit better graphic here. You know, this is the substation is proposed next to an existing substation called Walney substation. The property is currently owned by a developer that is behind the 2 data centers I just mentioned. They had purchased that property. It's an existing commercial site, industrial commercial mixed use on there, and we'll intend to deed over the property to Dominion as part of their responsibilities in this project. Dominion will then proceed with the development of it, but prior to that, the developer will be responsible for demolishing the existing building on site and preparing it for Dominion, but all construction after that will be Dominion's responsibility. Before we go to the next slide, any questions concerning whether that and the location where we're at?
Nope.
Okay, thank you. And can we go to the next slide, please? So this is, as we show here, this is a nice colorized rendering of our substation. Page left is to the north, and that's Willard Road running down the left side of the street of the screen. Page right is south, and that's where property is bordered by Old Lee Road to the south. What I didn't point out on the previous screen on what's out there currently right now, as I said, there's an existing commercial center with 4 entrances, 2 on each road, both 2 on Willard, 2 on Old Lee. The new concept, when we build this new substation, we'll be removing one of them and removing 2 of those entrances and making improvements to the existing substation entrances to support the substation activities and equipment that come in to the site. As you can see in this illustrative, we are proposing substantial screening on both Willard and with regard to Old Lee. The intention is, for the most part, you will not be able to really see inside this substation. It will be supported, there will be a 12-foot height screen fencing around the whole substation. That fencing is, if you've gone to a new substation recently built, you'll see it's very difficult to see into that substation especially if you're looking from askew. If you get straight ahead, you can see it, but from askew, it becomes difficult based on the screening. It's a unique little fencing that is utilized by Dominion for their substations. Again, it's 12-foot high, and so it'll be a pretty it'll hide predominantly most of the equipment that you'll see in the substation. But we'll also be providing screening, as I said, in accordance with the county's plan requirements for the substations. They want to see screening. So we've got a mixture of evergreen and deciduous trees being proposed along both the north and south side of this site. We'll see simulations and further on in this presentation that demonstrate the screening. We'll be utilizing as much as we can. If you drive by down the site right now, there's currently, street trees, very well grown trees grown in good condition along both Oldley and Willard. And we'll do our best to save those, but we can't promise that they'll all be retained during construction due to engineering and construction requirements. And Fairfax County is very particular about how we present these and save these trees. So, but again, we'll work with the county on that in our site plan process. And we'll move and during the whole process to ensure what trees we can be saved and what trees can't be saved. The other thing to be aware of is, Dominion's very concerned about trees near their substation, as well as the overhead lines that run parallel with this current along Oldley Road and Willard Road. There's an existing overhead lines that are currently supporting the community, and there's no intention to replace those or put them below ground. They will be left in place, and all trees that are in and around those overhead lines will be prepared and maintained in accordance with Dominion standards to ensure safety and security for those overhead lines. Next view, please. And before I go any further, is there any questions concerning what I just shared?
Yeah, you indicated the power lines for the community. Are you adding additional power lines and towers in order for distribution of?
So, no, actually, we are connecting to the existing distribution transmission lines that are running into Walney. So we won't be adding any new transmission lines other than just standard maintenance programs associated with that upgrade. It's one of the reasons why this is an ideal location for the substation, because we're co-locating with an existing substation and utilizing the transmission lines that are already there to provide the power for it. Now, coming out of the substation, there will be new distribution lines supporting the two new data centers, but those are being proposed to be constructed underground. So they will not be proposing any new overhead lines for distribution services. So it's kind of like we're getting both opportunity, let me try to describe this. It's in a real, as I said, it's in a real ideal situation location-wise. We're not needing to provide new transmission lines provided to this substation. And please, Stefan, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm overstating this. I just know that we're intending to make a connection to the existing ones. But we're not proposing anything other than a new transmission line connecting directly into the substation.
Was there a particular reason why you chose to go underground rather than up high?
Well, for the distribution lines?
Yes.
I can't say I have any say on that matter. Stefan, would you?
I guess with taking a high level shot, not being the distribution PM, but I know there's a lot of congestion in these areas, specifically as relates to utilities. I know we have some gas lines running through here, a lot of fiber optic, and from a routing perspective, they've been working pretty closely with the data center developer to pick the most optimal route. And just considering all the constraints in the area, they determined that underground would be the best path forward on that one. So
it had nothing to do with the type of work that data center will be doing.
I can't really speak to that, but not that I'm aware of immediately.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Sure. So this next slide is two section views. The top section view is what's going on Willard. And as you can see, what we're showing there is those are the existing trees for the most part that's currently in place along Willard Road, running parallel with the overhead transmission, the distribution lines, I should say, that are in place along Willard. What's not shown on that visual is also the intention to put a paved path, paved trail. There is an existing paved trail adjacent on Walney, and there are a number of properties to the west of this site that have a paved trail. And so we'll be proposing to install a new paved trail running under those existing distribution lines adjacent to the right-of-way of Willard Road. The dimensions either 8 or 10 feet, but we'll be matching the existing paved trail that's already in place in location and coordinate that with Fairfax County DOT and VDOT concerning the location and the width of the trail. As you can see from that section, there's also, as I said, we're going to be proposing screening underneath those existing trees and to provide against that 12-foot high screen fencing. The section view on the bottom is from Old Lee Road. And as you can see, there's a number of trees that's already in place along Old Lee Road, and there's transmission I always get these confused, I apologize. There's existing distribution lines also going along Old Lee Road that we'll be working with. So some of those trees that are out there will probably be removed and new, but we'll end up enhancing all those trees in the area as shown on the visual before, and we'll see these in the simulations I share with you shortly. And so that will provide a very good screening to the substation, both from Old Lee and Willard Road. The next slide, please. So this is just to give you an understanding, this sets us up for our simulations. So we did some simulation, the next slides are simulations of what you would see from the site, photo 1, photo 2, photo 3. Is if you're driving down Willard and you look to your right as you're driving from eastward, or if you're looking to your left as you're driving from west down Willard. Those are the first two visuals simulations you'll see. And then simulation 3 is off of Old Lee Road, which currently is basically a 2-lane road with parking on both sides, and it's a dead end cul-de-sac at the end. So if you're going down there, you're going down there for a reason. So this first visualization, keep going. Next slide, please. This first visualization, as I said, it's on Old Lee, on Willard, looking more or less directly at the future substation. The top view is what's out there today. As you can see, there's distribution lines coming along on Willard Road, and you have a substantial amount of existing deciduous trees in place. The first picture below is what you would see at initial growth, initial installation of the landscaping that's going to be proposed along Willard Road. As you can see, and you can see the substation behind it. So if you go to the next screen, that same view is in 10 years from initial plantings. So you can see obviously the backbones at the top, what we call the backbones, which is the large, kind of like a football post, the old touchdown goal posts right there. Exactly. Those are basically the tallest item being installed on the substation. So for most part, everything behind it will be visually screened from Willard Road in approximately 10 years. And things will get, and it'll get further and further developed as the life goes on. But, what we're showing you is a good 10-year growth. The next view, please. So this is just to the left. If you were standing there and you go a little bit further to the left, this is if you were driving down Willard, going westbound on Willard, coming up on our substation on the left-hand side. Again, you can see the existing building in the background that's going to be demolished, installed, and the new substation being installed. Again, this is the first set of plantings once initially in place. The next view slide is again that same view as with the 10-year growth of proposed screening along Willard Road. Again, you'll see the backbones in the back. There's a big static pole being proposed in this that you see on the left. That's going to be supporting the substation as well. But otherwise, the majority of the substation with the transformers and the distribution equipment will be heavily screened from the roadway. So the next screen. This is Lee. So now we're on Lee. We got actually a prime picture taken when no one was actually parked there. But if you drive down there most days, you'll see a lot of vehicles parked along Lee Road. This, again, the existing buildings in the background, what you're seeing with the initial growth and screening proposed along Lee in this first screen. And this next slide, again, but also take note, you have you have distribution lines on both sides of Old Lee. Well, my fault, that's not distribution on the right, that's just communication lines. Power lines strictly on the left side of Old Lee. And those distribution lines are, again, not being proposed to be removed or relocated or underground. So again, what you're seeing here is a 10-year growth. The substation's fairly heavily screened. Again, you might see the backbones, but in this viewport, you're not seeing the backbones. So you're really having a very, at the end of within 10 years time, the proposed substation will be very, very heavily screened and to the public.
Except in the wintertime.
So
Fall.
before I go any further, any questions?
Any concerns about vehicles parking along streets?
No, I don't believe that would be a problem. There are substations throughout Northern Virginia and through the state where people are constantly parking on the roads. Obviously, no one can be parking in front of the entrance for purposes, that's pretty standard. Right. It's a public right of way, so I don't believe there's going to be real concern. Again, also the substation that we showed in the first graphic earlier, these fences are pretty set back from the property line. Both cases were about 100 feet from the property line. So or I should say the equipment is about 100 feet from the property line, closest piece of equipment. And the fence lines are pretty set back too, like 70 and 30 feet at the closest parts. So there's a substantial distance between the substation and the road on both Old Lee and Willard. So I'm pretty comfortable to say that I don't think there's going to be any interference with people parking there. Okay. And again, it's a public right of way, so we have no say on the matter as to whether people park on the road or not. So, and so kind of would wrap up here. It's as part of the 2232. If you go to the next slide here, one of the bigger challenges, as always for all our 2232 applications, is to demonstrate to the county and to everyone involved that this is we have to demonstrate three things: that the property is the right location, the substation is the right character, and we met with the right extent, meaning we've got this, as I said before, this property is in a commercial zone. It's actually zoned I-4. I didn't recognize that before, and what we're proposing on the site is a by right use under the I-4 zoning today, as it stands today. It's not just going to serve the data center. It's also going to serve, as I said, the overall community with the additional growth that's coming in place in your area, with the commercial growth, high-tech growth. First, there's some new residential being proposed just down the road from your site, from this particular site. So it's pretty substantial amount of redevelopment in this corridor, and we believe this is as co-locating it with the existing substation, it's the appropriate location for a new substation. There's no environmental concerns that we've done a review of everything associated with the property. We don't have any real concerns about that. We have, as I said before, we're going to have heavy screening and buffering around the property, aside from at the entrances. But again, it's going to be pretty clear, pretty difficult to see in due time as growth takes place and the proposed vegetation take hold. In 10 years' time, that substation will be pretty hidden from the public view. So I think this last notation, it's the least disruptive to the area. I mean, we're building this in an I-4 zone. It's an ideal location for a substation. Before I go any further, any other questions?
I got a couple.
Sure.
The 2232 application just goes in front of the PC. What date is that?
We are, and I was going to get to the timeline here, but yeah, we are scheduled to be on the Planning Commission agenda for December 10th.
10 December.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, let me see here. Will this substation support the additional residential units going in on the east side of Route 28?
Stefan, you want to speak towards that?
I guess to be sure with that, I'm not sure. I can check with our planning commission, our planning team, to see how we plan to handle that load growth. I know there are quite a few substations in this area that could probably, either one or several of them can handle those new additions. But that's something maybe I can circle back with our team on and try to get y'all an answer for.
I'm just trying to help you here.
No, we appreciate that. It is, definitely brings reliability and sustainability to the area. With this, as I mentioned, this area is definitely exposed to growth, and so it's not just, we don't believe these data centers are the only reason why this substation is going in. It does provide some sustainability to the area.
Okay.
But specifically to what I think Stefan can't really speak towards is it's going to be specific to that new residential development to the east.
Okay, I was just trying to help you out. Any more questions from the audience? I need a motion, Mr. Johnson.
Make a motion that we have no objection to proposal.
I need a second, Mr. Chairman.
I second.
Do you want to vote, Jim? Okay. There are no objections unanimously. How's that?
Well, that's fantastic. We appreciate that opportunity.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
No, our pleasure. And I'm sure we'll see you again sometime soon.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Mount Olive Baptist Church, front and center. Is it on the computer? Okay. Mount Olive. I go to the Methodist Church half a mile from there, where we hosted when Remus Sama, we had hosted the funeral for you guys. It was really sad. Yeah. What's that?
It's good for you to do that.
Oh well. The least we could.
Well, I am Jessica Washington, the law firm Washington Machines, here on behalf of Mount Olive Baptist Church. I have 2 members of the church with me, through talking online, and Ms. Howard is here in the audience. We are doing a special exception limit. This is just an aerial overview of the site. You can see the church there outlined and then the surrounding community. So I'm sure you know there's a couple elementary schools nearby. There's mainly slide. So here's a close up of the church. You can see the residential homes to the south, a couple to the northeast. And there's substantial landscaping buffer the church from all those homes, so you can't even see the houses from the church's view. Next slide. Real quick, the zoning map for zoning parks, so it's a residential district. Next slide. Living conditions, there's a 2-story church there on the site right now. That's subject to a rezoning special exception that was approved back in 2000. And this is kind of subject of our application. So this special exception was approved in 2000, included a development condition, which prohibited signs that were internally illuminated. So we're here now just to amend that condition. And as a helpful point there is the current freestanding sign. Freestanding sign existing right now was approved administratively. The sign permit last year in 2020. So go to the next slide, you'll see the existing language in the development conditions. This letter says signage should be provided for 12. The existing freestanding sign for any replacement thereof should not be permanently eliminated. This condition is really outdated. It was approved in 2000. Back then, the zoning ordinance did not allow internally illuminated signs. Zoning ordinance currently allows those signs for electronic display signs by right. Currently, zoning ordinance signage in Article 12, so it's this entire petition is just outdated. So we're proposing to update it to the proposed language here. That says signs are provided in accordance with Article 7, which regulates the permissible electronic display signs by right instead of Section 7.1. So that's again have signage in accordance with current zoning ordinance. And so the next slide is showing what we intend to do in the future. There is no sign that's actually part of this application, but the intent is if this language is approved, the church will go forward with sign for application to update their existing sign and replace that rectangle there with an electronic display sign. That way they can, have more messages to inform the community about things that the church offers. So this is not part of the application yet. In the future, if this gets approved, they'll come back with a sign for an application, which doesn't approve the administrative, and their sign will be in compliance with zoning ordinance standards. The next slide. There's a couple of site photos, so you can see the left photo shows north on Commonwealth Centre Landbay There's the sign on the left hand side. So you see all that landscaping. Though we can't even see the houses that you saw on the previous slides. The image on the right is south on Old Central Road. Again, the sign is on the right hand side, and all that landscaping. None of the houses will be able to see the signs. They shouldn't be impacted by the future sign on the screen. And next, I suggest the approval process. So the staff report has already been published. You can go on and read it if you'd like. We go before the planning commission on Wednesday of this week, and pending a favorable outcome, we'll go for the board hopefully in December, but we'll be sure to let you know that date if we get a recommendation from the planning commission.
And the staff report was positive?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
I don't have any.
I have one question. So, regarding the electronic sign, I guess I've heard that there have been concerns, I think it was county, there were county concerns regarding, flashing and all sorts of, with the signs doing gymnastics and distracting drivers. And I was just wondering if, I don't know if there's been any regulations or anything having to do with those signs. Is it?
So the zoning ordinance does have provisions that cover lighting and changeable copies, changeable elements. And this sign, post sign that will in the future will be able to be dimmed if there's any issues. So zoning ordinance really goes into detail on how to regulate signs to make sure the community is protected. If there's any issues, it will of course come to the county and let them know, and the church will be happy to accommodate.
If, for example, that sometimes they show, fireworks or,
Yeah,
Sure.
if
Yeah,
anybody
all-
will call
yeah,
those
yeah.
zoning.
okay. That was my only concern.
Well, the sign you just described, Centerville Baptist Church, about 2 miles from there, has a sign just like that. Sort of regular approved. So.
And Bull Run,
And Bull Run, that's right.
Bull Run Elementary School has
Elementary school. So
a sign too. And
I think the Mount Olive Baptist Church is just catching up with the times. Any objections to this great application?
none.
Okay,
Make a motion.
you can tell the planning commission we had no objections and we support the sign.
Thank you very
Okay,
much.
all right.
Thank you.
Get something faster.
What's that?
Wish I had you up first.
Oh,
Like me, once you get up there, you start about, just start going, you can't stop.
no. He's a lot worse than you are. Okay,
Thanks. You take care.
good luck. Shake that guy's hand in the back corner.
Even though we abstained.
I think some of the electronic signs probably distract some drivers and contribute to some accidents.
Yeah.
Somewhat. But I think there was a U.S. Supreme Court case a few years back, and basically they counted Gilbert versus whatever, and the Supreme Court basically said you can't regulate the content of signs. So the Fairfax, so the sign ordinance had to get redone, and there's some restrictions on the size of things. So you really, these flashing signs are going to happen, and they're going to have messages, and I don't know what they're going to do with the Expo Center now, that being an IKEA, but things like that. People should be looking at Route 28 and not seeing what the attraction is.
I guess it's even more of an issue if it's in a residential setting.
Yes, and then the flashing lights would keep people away. I don't know that anybody would see this or would see it.
Well, as far, well, personally, I think with the Expo Center, instead of having the sign flashing machine gun sale, they're going to have 3 couches for the price of 2.
Well, the machine gun sales are going to move up into loud.
Oh, that's true.
The Lord Taylor's is going to be what Lord Taylor.
They can have it up there.
We did that.
Okay. Sorry for the little levity. It's getting late. All right. Next, but certainly not least, the COPT Park Center rezoning.
I have a lot more luck getting these presentations on my phone.
I had to look up where in the world Willard Road was. 4701 Willard Road.
I'm kind of curious as to what they're going to do with are they going to displace all those other people in that building?
Oh, yeah.
That's a big building, got a lot of stuff in small business.
Okay, we're ready.
All right, we are.
Yeah.
We're moving in it. We're
Continue
on.
the theme of Westfield's projects.
Yeah.
I'm Scott Adams. I'm a land use attorney with Woods, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you tonight about our plan for Park Center project in Westfields. We think it's, we'll jump into the proposal, but it's essentially adding additional office within the existing secure facility that's on the site. We think it's a really great opportunity to sort of reinforce what Westfield's is historically been for, frankly, bring this investment in the area county. So the site itself is located inside the ring of Conference Center Boulevard and Stonecroft Boulevard. It's the entire 64-acre site inside of those roadways. It's currently developed with a secure federal facility. Familiar with the site, got security around the exterior of the project. You've got limited access. The main vehicular and pedestrian access is all in a single access point on the north of the site. They do have some emergency egress points in other places, but that's the secure access point where everybody's going in and out. Site's currently zoned I3. It was part of the original Westfield's rezoning. There's also a special exception that was approved in 2017 that allowed for the increase in height on the site up to 120 feet. So we can go to the next slide. So just to give you a feel of how it's developed, the stuff that's outlined in green is the existing buildings that are already constructed. In red are two buildings that are currently approved, both through the special exception for the site plan, but are not constructed. And then outlined in blue is a proposed structured parking that's part of the site plan as well. So you essentially have right now on the site, it's a 0.5 FAR that we built today, a little over 1 million square feet. And what we're proposing for the site is to increase the amount of the office on the site up to a 0.69 FAR, which gets you to about 1.9 million square feet of office development within the property. Slide. And I guess just maybe to map for you. So we're talking about 500,000 square feet of new office above what's currently approved. So the proposed development, essentially adding new office to the property. It's located primarily within the same footprint of what's currently approved. So the stuff out in the south, it's gray there. It's an option for either one or two new buildings. Again, within the boundaries of kind of currently approved development footprint, and then within the height of the existing special exception on the site. And then structured parking is kind of a gray box on the top, and that's generally the same location as the currently approved structured parking, and then it extends out for some of the existing surface parking. So not really expanding the footprint, the impervious area on the site, but really just trying to react to the need of the users out there who wants to expand their operations within the secure campus that they've already got. So we won't be changing any of the access points to the site. The site already meets stormwater, landscaping, tree canopy, all of the county requirements for development. It's really just taking and adding some additional density onto the site in that current existing location. Around the exterior of the site, currently have sidewalks, landscaping around that exterior. Go to the next slide. So one of the things that we've focused on as part of this proposal, and a lot of discussions with staff, is just improving the pedestrian facilities associated with this site. And so Stonecroft Boulevard, there's currently a narrow sidewalk. We did widen that out into an 8-foot trail along that frontage, and then also trying to look at better connectivity for pedestrians within Westfields. And so we've got two intersections adjacent to the site. The next slide. Those intersections, Conference Center Drive and Stonecroft Boulevard. Right now, there's two legs of that crosswalk. We'll be adding the additional missing legs to that crosswalk in addition to the street facilities. For that intersection, the same thing south at Lee Road and Stonecroft, completing the pedestrian facilities there with new crosswalks, new pedestrian signals at that intersection.
Is that a signalized?
Right. Yeah, I guess both those.
And you're going to just stripe the crosswalk, is that it?
Well, it's a little bit more than striping. We've got to actually put in the curb ramps and connections to the sidewalk and put in the.
Oh, for
The
wheelchair ramps for
Yeah.
sidewalks.
And then in terms of other project benefits, from a transportation standpoint, got a TDM commitment for 25% reduction of trips going to the site. We also have a commitment for a new left turn lane going north on Stonecroft, turning left onto Commonwealth Centre Drive. So that'll be a second left turn that intersection. That'll be accommodated within the existing right of way that's out there. In addition to that, from an environmental standpoint, we committing to LEED certification, EV chargers, enhanced stormwater commitments. I already mentioned we're meeting the pre-canopy tree preservation requirements on the site. And then we've also made a commitment to public art around the exterior of the site. We've got the sidewalks, because we need the street connections. We made a commitment to do some public art, probably closer to the two intersections. We haven't finalized kind of what that public art would look like, but we don't have a proper commitment for that. And then commitment for a monetary contribution to the park authority for on-site recreation facilities. Next slide. Just to give you a feel of kind of what we're looking at from a technical standpoint, similar to kind of what's out there now in terms of the office buildings that are being proposed, but we're standpoint. And so just to maybe give you a better overview of kind of where we're at in the process. So this site got an application in for rezoning to move it from I3 to I4. And then we've also got a special exception to maintain the existing height limitations, but then also to increase the density from 0.5 to 0.69. And then finally, we've got a proper condition amendment to pull the site out of the existing and then in addition to those, there's a comprehensive plan amendment that's part of the SSPA process, not this last cycle, but actually the cycle before that's been going through the process. That one was heard by Planning Commission at the end of October, and it's going to for December 9th for approval on the amendment, and that's sort of to increase the permitted density of the site from 0.5 to 0.7 FAR to accommodate the development.
So you've already been to the PC for all this?
Not for the zoning, but the comprehensive plan.
Oh, the amendment. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. When's the PC date?
For the zoning, we're waiting on a final confirmation, but we're looking at February 11th.
February 11th.
So I think overall, we feel like this is an opportunity to enhance the office component in Westfield Working Center. We feel like this is an appropriate location for that additive density, just building on a campus with users already there, and really just expanding their operations on the site. And then we think the added benefit of just increasing the pedestrian connectivity in Westfield is a nice benefit to the broader community with this project. So we're happy to answer any questions, but I think we anticipate that we'll be back for this group before we get to the planning commission.
Jay?
This looks like it increases it by about 100%, the size.
It's essentially adding 500,000 square feet to the 1.1 that's already.
So it's a half more, 50% more. And the
Right.
parking,
I guess he's comparing it to what's there now, so how much
that's
is
what I'm
there
doing.
now?
So in terms of what's constructed is about 990,000 square feet. And then you've got additional buildings that are approved but unbuilt that we could file a bill.
So existing right now is 900,000.
Not about 900. It's closer.
Okay, so and you're putting in 500. So that's 50% more.
Well, it's it's the difference between kind of what's actually constructed and what's actually approved out there. So the constructed is the 990, but it's approved right now.
I'm just thinking of traffic.
Mhm.
Have you done the traffic study?
We have, so we've done the traffic analysis, that's gone through, it's actually been approved by, the TIA has been approved by this point.
And there will be no changes to Westfield Boulevard or to Walney intersection?
No, the only traffic mitigation, is the new terminal, Stonecroft onto.
Wow.
With the TDM, are you gonna have staggered arrival and departure times?
We have not looked at the staggered, arrival and departure times for this particular user. It's very
Well, if you're going up,
difficult to dictate to them.
if the use is going up 50%, you
Yeah.
might want to take a look at that.
Yeah, I think because it's the nature of this user and what they do on the site, it's, I don't know if the organization will go to that,
Oh, I gotcha.
tell them how to sort of stagger.
I gotcha.
I'm guessing that there's a good amount of traffic that's coming off 28.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it might get lost in the noise as compared to the traffic that's coming off 28.
I've accessed a site in Herndon that is similar to this one. And they have certain rules of when people can arrive and when you can't arrive. And they do have staggered arrivals. I don't know that you can dictate it, but you can certainly make mention to it in your discussions with them that this is a highly congested area because it is a major thoroughfare and access to 28 and 29, and that it might behoove them to think how they could accommodate not the people that are trying to cut through, but their own employees
Yeah.
on trying to get on and off the site. It is a bear to try and do that. And again, the site that I referenced, as a visitor, I can't get there until after a certain time.
Yeah, we can certainly go back and have this discussion of that, the big operations.
And you're increasing the parking too. So that tells me that they're expecting people to drive. They're not expecting people to walk, come by bus, come by plane, or come by any other means, but except to drive and bring their car and park it someplace. So.
Just for future reference, I was on the PC when we said TDM to Fort Belvoir. They said the same thing, but after looking it over, they agreed. So anyway, how many additional parking spaces will this create?
Double. It's gonna double. Look at
Yeah,
the size of the
it's-
one they have now and the big one they're putting in there.
Yes, it'll go to, what's proposed is 5,200 parking spaces. Right now, you're at, let's see, we're at, 24.
So you're going from 2,400 right now to on
5,400.
build out
No,
5,400.
52.
2,400 to 5,200.
It's twice as much.
Right,
More
but you're
than
also
Two
forgetting,
times.
you're also forgetting NRO is right down the street.
Yes.
How many spaces do they
That's
Yeah,
a
but you won't
secret.
be able to park there.
have?
So my guess is now they're building the parking to accommodate not only this current application, but for a future application, maybe coming down the road, those buildings that you identified that are not built out yet.
Well, so the buildings that.
I don't want you coming back in 3 years and saying you need more parking.
I think also, but, the buildings that are being proposed, those will replace the ones that are currently, they're in the same locations. It's just adding, additional density essentially to those buildings.
So 24 plus 52, 75, 76.
7,600. That's a lot of people.
That is a lot of people.
And but they're going to add a turn lane.
Okay.
All right.
Get
Any
lost in the
questions?
noise.
Questions?
Okay, well, a couple things. I don't have a problem with increasing the intensity on a secure site if the transportation checks out.
Yeah.
What I wonder about, I don't know how far geography or geometry, how far out they look at, but I came over Westfield Boulevard on 28 tonight, and at about 10 after 6, the people coming on 28 to get onto Westfield Boulevard have to get let in. There's too many cars backed up already on Westfield Boulevard, and people coming off the exit, there's nowhere to go. If there's a red light at Stonewall, and I've got to think that if you're adding cars to something a couple blocks away, it's gonna add to the congestion on Westfield Boulevard. If that's not failing now, I don't know if it's level D or level F, but if it's not failing now, it's
Yeah.
and I just again, I think if the transportation works, you know, who cares? But I'm not sure. I would ask that question. Looking at things like Westfield Boulevard, people coming off 28 to get onto Westfield Boulevard.
We're forcing people off on Willard to come in the back way.
Yeah,
Who
people
won't
like that
leave.
too. Willard, to me, it's not as congested. Willard, you can dip right over to the road. Westfield Boulevard in rush hour at night is awful. And I wouldn't want to come up either. So,
I would just say really quickly, Jim, on the transportation analysis. So
Yeah.
it was scoped with VDOT with Fairfax County based on where they felt like needed the study in terms of next project. I don't know. What intersection?
Sites.
Like the council.
Yeah, I like success given associates, and we did look at that intersection, is Westfield and Stonecroft, and it is little service has some movements that fail there. In the evening, I understand that movement. I think the thing to remember here is that in this particular case, because it's outbound in the evening, as workers that are leaving, and it can opposite way that intersection. We looked very heavily at that intersection. We've been back and forth on it. DOT, VDOT, CDOT staff. You know, that intersection it's pretty built out. What we suggested in our study and what VDOT and the county agreed to is to really look at the signal timings there to see if some of those things can change a little bit. Sometimes it doesn't always keep up with the demand. Maybe we look at these things and evaluate. You know, we're looking at every single movement out there, green time, the overlaps, spaces that you see. So we've taken those timings, we've like really gotten down and dirty and said, okay, if we're going to shift 5 seconds, this movement, that movement, that movement. And the idea being that we keep that overall delay about what it would be in the future with or without development. So it's still overall, he is the overall level service. And that's with the build out. But we also looked at it under the comp plan conditions. So there were really 2 parts to the study. One was the comprehensive plan analysis, which was at a 2045 condition, and then the rezoning part of the analysis, which is more near terms. We had 2027, where we think initial construction would occur, and then 2033, which is the requirement 6 years after build out. And so that's where we use that, findings to try and say, okay, so the demands by the time we get to those future years are going to change from what they are today because of that signal timings being just to be able to do that. Really, that's probably about the best we're going to do.
Is it ever going to get better?
No.
I think it will always be
Never.
level service key, with those kind of constraints for individual movements, just because of the amount of sheer space that is available for those movements, those types of intersections tend to operate. As Scott mentioned earlier, on Civic Rock, that Commonwealth Centre Drive, we went out and set left turn lane there within the median, so that there's plenty of room out there. Unfortunately, it's wide. So we can do that. So we don't have queuing problems, those sorts of things. Understanding that these kinds of facilities, persons that come here, they know, what they're doing, they know how to get in and out. But I heard the suggestion made about trying to stagger times and those sorts of things. So those make sense, and I think it will ramp itself up over time as the additional buildings get built, the more workers start being added. I think just the network will require
Yes.
employees need to go on.
Well, Fort Belvoir can do it. I think you guys can, no matter who your customer is.
It's true.
Now, did your study look at morning traffic as well?
Yes.
So the morning traffic coming in on 28 is going to be the same. But as Jim's pointing out, that you've got the evening traffic where now, as you point out, your folks are on the way out, and all those people that are currently coming in are still going to be coming in. So you've compounded the situation there with, 2,500 more cars. I think we're going to move our meeting to someplace other than here after that building is built. I don't want to have to try and get in here.
Well, remember,
The second thing I was going to say, and Scott, this got printed the first one at the plan of state. I think that it is possible that the plan amendment was mentioned in as I think Commissioner Fortina described it as a speed dating section where we rattle off plan amendments that will come. And then, 15-minute thing is over. And I don't remember this work. I don't remember questions about it. I know that Jeff here had questions about pedestrian access around when a secure site, you're not trails through it, I guess, but it seems like you have addressed it. But I think what made this controversial was that there was just sort of suddenly a public hearing on a plan amendment that people would have said, well, what about the trail over here, or what about such terms? The committee, I think, would have wanted to do this and not necessarily in a adversarial way, but look at it, ask questions, make suggestions. That never happened. Well, here you are, so we're having that discussion now, but I guess I'm speaking for Jeff, who's not here, but I think Jeff was put out that this public hearing, no one ever had a chance to say anything. And that's not your fault, but that probably shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I think in a chill road, that's not a big, that's not operates on the side. I don't remember it was a meeting, but it was a while back as part of the CDPA.
I'm going to wrap this up. It's 9 o'clock. So okay, can we wrap this up? It's 9 o'clock.
It probably shouldn't.
It was mentioned.
Just figure it out how to use it.
Okay, but
Yeah, I was going back. We participated in that. I don't know that there's turnout. Maybe they actually.
Okay, so I'd say some of these meetings nobody comes to, but, you know, it is what it is. Your photo didn't seem to have the, fence around the outside. Remember, there was an application somewhere along the way to put in a heavy duty crawler fence that, you know, and your site you needed, and you got out your buildings, I guess, if you were in whatever, but you had a render.
What's that?
More like,
It was the shop inside. That's rather than the exterior that you actually.
He wants me to work.
Go back
He
to.
wants me to work.
So I think this one is.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah,
It's
so
like
we
looking
go back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's further in. This is taken from the corner of Eden and Scowcroft. Rather than the skull one. This is maybe that show them the trail. Right now.
You're not having a data center or substation.
Yeah, it's a
Well-
probably some skits. It's
So the PC date's February 11th,
February.
February 12th.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't have one yet? Okay. I was going to suggest if it was the 11th or 12th, you'd come back to our January 19th meeting with some transportation information.
And I think what we'll do is once we get the date confirmed, we'll circle back in.
Yeah. Okay, it's the 19th of January. So, any more questions?
Just one more. On your carding of individuals coming in, where you take a look at their ID cards and ensure they have access, how far is that from the main entrance?
Yeah, so if you go to the.
Because that would help relieve some of the traffic on your turn lane in addition to other places if it's far enough into the interior that you don't back up. So how many cars can stack up on the driveway as people come by and flash their ID cards?
Yes, I don't know. Safety analysis.
I would suggest
It's
doing
probably around. Just
one of the success at Fort Belvoir that John's talking about is because of that. The facility that I had to visit is the same way. It had a 2-lane stack where people who had ID cards went through one lane, the people who didn't stopped at another lane. But it was, and it must have been 200 feet long. So the people could stack up and just keep traffic moving. 2 lanes so that the people who had ID cards from the very entrance can drive all the way through. Those who don't have to stop and get their cards checked.
Yeah, we can, we'll
All right, thank you.
Tully Gate, Fort Belvoir.
Do one public gate for.
Tully Gate.
Oh, Tully Gate.
Yeah.
No, this was down Kingman Gate, the same one.
No, it's not that. Oh, anyway. Okay, it's 9 o'clock. That's my limit. Jim Hart's limit. Jay Johnson's limit. The only one that wants to stay and play with the computer is Steve. So do we want to call this off?
I have nothing further. Motion to adjourn. Before anybody else has a chance.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
And thank you. Karen Williams? Yeah, I thought so. From Fairfax County. Thank you for bailing us out on the computer.
You're hired. We'll bring you back next week.
I'm ready to be here all night.
Not a chance if I'm running the show, Jim. Not a chance.